Hi, I'm Rita Wilkins, also known as the Downsizing Designer. So I think you're going to enjoy this topic because it's so impactful. So letting go without regret, and it's a decluttering method that actually prevents regret. So letting go doesn't mean losing, it actually means choosing. So we've all been there. You're holding on to an old photo, a chipped teacup, or one of your kids' school projects. And you want to declutter it, but something inside is saying, what if I regret letting it go? So that fear of regret is powerful, and it's also sometimes paralyzing. But what if I told you that there is a way to let go that doesn't leave you feeling empty? It actually leaves you feeling empowered. So letting go doesn't mean losing, it actually means choosing intentionally, mindfully, and also from the heart. So there's some truth about regret, and that's that regret usually comes from one of two places: letting go too quickly without even thinking it through, or holding on to it for too long and feeling buried underneath the weight of all that stuff, the emotional weight. But when you slow down, reflect, and also declutter by your heart, this is a method that helps you respect your memories and your values. You'll discover a new kind of freedom in letting go. So there's a decluttering method that I call decluttering by heart. So I want to introduce you to that process that I've refined throughout the years by helping people downsize and declutter their homes and their lives. So a method I call decluttering by heart. It's not about organizing. It's not about containers and labels and all of that. It's about aligning with what you want to keep, with who you are right now, and where you're going in your life. So here's how it works. You start with a vision, not the stuff. So before touching a single item, ask yourself, who am I becoming? What kind of life do I want to have in my next chapter? And also, when you define your vision first, you make choices through that particular lens. So letting go becomes a powerful act of choosing what you want in your life today, not what used to be in your life. The second step is hold, feel, and ask. And I have some examples of this. But as you hold each item, don't ask, should I keep it? Instead, ask, does this reflect on who I am today? Does it bring peace, joy, and purpose? And would I choose this item again if I didn't own it? So this heart-based questionnaire naturally filters out the clutter, and it also prevents regret because your decision is intentional. You've taken time to ask questions and you didn't do it too quickly. So here's an example. I've got, I think, 3 or 4. So a real life example, I know for me, was business suits. So, in a former life, I wore a lot of business suits to some pretty important meetings. And you might want to ask yourself, who am I today? You might say, I'm retired. I no longer go to those board meetings. I now maybe head a community workshop or project of some kind, and so I'm always in jeans and t-shirts and sneakers. So then ask the question, does it bring me purpose and joy? And you could say something like, it does remind me of a good time in my life, and I'm proud of those years, but wearing those things now makes me feel foolish. It makes me feel like I'm pretending to be something I'm not. And then would I choose to choose again to buy those if I didn't already own it? And the answer would be no. I wouldn't spend money on something that I'm not going to wear, that's taking up room in my closet, when my lifestyle has changed so much. So a second real life example is those college textbooks that you might have in your basement, been sitting there for probably 20 or 30 years. So you find a box of those old textbooks. They're heavy, they're dusty, they're maybe even mildewed, and they're certainly untouched for many years. So ask yourself, who am I today? And then you might say, I'm no longer a student. I've grown so much since that time, and my interests are so different now. And then you ask yourself, does it bring me peace or joy? The answer probably would be no. It feels like clutter, and I'll never read them anyway. And then would you choose that again, even if you do own them? And you probably say, definitely not. I'd probably look it up online or maybe go to the library and get a book. The third example is china that's inherited from a favorite loved one. So you inherited that delicate china, but it's been sitting in storage for many years. So ask yourself, who am I today? And you might say, I'm someone who values simplicity. I don't want that formal dinnerware because I don't use it, and I want to have more relaxed and casual dinners. Does it bring joy? Does it bring peace? So you can say it's beautiful, but it feels like an obligation more than joy. So, and I also worry about breaking it. Then the third question, would I choose it again if I didn't own it? And the answer probably would be no. If I saw it in the store, I might appreciate it and think it was beautiful, but I probably wouldn't buy it. So what do you do with that kind of stuff? You pass it down to someone who is in your family or friends who might have, dinner parties, or they might actually need the china. And then you just let it go. And then the fourth example is a box of children's toys. These are all examples, by the way, that people have told me about over the years, and then I just adapted it to this process. So you're sorting through a storage bin and you come across your adult children's toys. You ask yourself, who am I today? And you could say, I'm a mom, I'm of adult children, but I'm not a keeper of clutter. So does it bring joy? Does it bring peace or purpose? And then maybe you could say, one or two of them maybe bring a smile to my face, but the rest just is clutter and makes me feel overwhelmed. And then the third question to ask is, would I choose to buy it if I didn't own it? And the answer probably is no. I'd rather have a few meaningful keepsakes and photos that have been unbroken and forgotten toys. And what do you do with those? You keep a few very special ones, then you let go of the rest, maybe donate them, and then you discard them with love. And the other question, or the next step, is to honor the memory without keeping the thing. So sometimes fear of regret is tied to letting go of a memory, not the object itself. So if you try this instead, take a photo of the item, write a short story or a memory about it, create a digital album like Shutterfly or Legacy Box that preserves the memory without keeping the physical item. And remember, you're not erasing the past, you're actually preserving it a lot differently. And then the next step is let go with ceremony. So regret often comes when we treat letting go as a quick toss or a quick donation. So instead, create kind of a small ritual or a moment, at least, of gratitude. Light a candle, say thank you, bless the next person who might be using it. So this kind of mindful release helps bring closure and also peace. And the last step is focus on what you're gaining. So you're not just getting rid of stuff, you're actually making room. You're making room for to breathe, you're making room for freedom, and you're also making space for new opportunities and adventure. So letting go becomes an opportunity then, one that welcomes in the future. So here are some final thoughts on choosing with courage. So decluttering isn't just about your home, it's also about your life. So when you choose to let go with intention, with gratitude, and with clarity, you don't lose, you actually gain. And most importantly, you leave no room for regret. So remember, letting go isn't about losing, it's about choosing. And you didn't just let go, you chose. So because of this, I created a small worksheet. It's called Letting Go Without Regret. It's free. You can email me at Rita Wilkins at ritawilkins.com, And in the subject line, just put worksheet for letting go. And what it does, it's designed to gently guide you through that heart-based decluttering process. So email me at ritawilkins@ritawilkins.com if that interests you. And I hope this helped. Take care.